Colour drenching is a popular colour technique which can totally transform your space. It involves saturating a room with often a single dominant colour and avoids those traditional white ceilings and trims which can create harsh lines and strong contrasts. You can decide for yourself how far to take it. Paint the radiator, upcycle existing furniture, or give your shelving a new lease of life. You may choose to use a darker tone to create a cosy feeling in a room made for relaxing. A light or mid-shade can make a room feel bigger and airier by blurring the line where the walls and ceilings meet, and can work well in smaller rooms like hallways to create the illusion of space. Let's get started by removing all items of furniture. Remove everything from the walls, including shelves, picture hooks and screws. You may choose to isolate and remove any radiators within the room for the ease of painting at this point. Then get those dust sheets down and fill any cracks you find with an appropriate filler. Lightly sand the skirting, the door frame, and the door if it's solid wood or a gloss surface. Sanding helps to smooth your walls out and means your paint will stick much better. Use a sanding block and work your way around the wall in a circular motion to remove and smooth blemishes. For large spaces, consider using an electric handheld sander to speed up the process, but don't forget your safety gear. If the room you're painting has stairs like ours, use fine sandpaper to go over the surface roughly. Then make sure all surfaces are dust-free and clean by using a suitable cleaner, and wait for the surfaces to dry. To make the most of colour drenching your space, it's important to use the correct type of paint and finish for the different surfaces, and with Valspar paint, we can colour match across all the different paint types and finishes you need. For this look, we are using a consistent matte finish on the walls and ceiling, satin for the skirting and door frame, but a gloss on the radiator to help it pop. Satin finishes are more subtle than gloss for this colour drench effect, but can still cope with knocks and scratches in this high-traffic hallway area. Now let's calculate how much paint you will need, taking all surfaces into account and allowing for 2 coats. You can use the paint calculator on our website to work out what you might need, but a general rule is that 1 litre will cover around 10 metres squared surface. Now, although we are drenching, we still need to mask off areas that have different paint finishes for a nice, clean transition between the surfaces, along with any lights, sockets or switches that need protecting. One of the golden rules of decorating is to start at the top and work your way down. By painting this way, you'll avoid any drip marks ruining your newly painted skirting boards. The order should be ceiling and coving first, then your walls, and then your skirting and wood trims, before tackling any hardware or decor elements like radiators or furniture. For the ceiling, we'll be using Valspar Premium Matte Wall and Ceiling Paint, a 2-inch angled precision brush for cutting in, and a medium pile roller with an extension pole and paint tray. Cut in with the brush 2 inches around the edge of the ceiling and any light fixtures, and then use the roller in vertical and then horizontal strokes, working back from a window. As you are painting the coving in the same colour and finish as the wall and ceiling, you don't need to be afraid of bringing the paint right down over the edges for a seamless join, and there is no need to tape it off. Using the 2-inch brush, start in one corner and work your way around the room, applying additional coats as necessary. We'll continue to use the same Valspar Premium Wall and Ceiling Paint in a matte finish as we move now onto the walls. Use a 2-inch brush for cutting in around the edges and a medium pile roller and tray for the bulk of the walls, plus an extension pole if necessary. You can repeat with a second coat after 2 hours. For the skirting boards, we'll be using Valspar Premium Wood and Metal Paint in a satin finish and a 2-inch flat brush. Don't forget to mask off the recently painted wall using decorator's tape designed for delicate surfaces. It's advisable to prime the surface first for a professional finish, and we suggest using a grey primer if you're intending on using or covering a bold colour. When you've finished painting, remove the decorator's tape while the paint is still wet, but leave your dust sheet in place until the paint is completely dry. For door frames and the doors, we are also going to be using Valspar Premium Wood and Metal Paint in a satin finish and a wood primer in grey with a 1.5-inch or 2-inch brush. Use decorator's tape to protect the surrounding wall area and door hinges and wedge the door open before painting. You should prime and paint the door frame first before moving on to the doors. Leave to dry for 2 to 4 hours before closing the door. If you removed any handles, wait for at least 24 hours before replacing them. For the radiator, we are using Valspar Premium Wood and Metal Paint in a gloss finish and a 2-inch brush. Lightly sand and clean the radiator, then use a suitable metal primer before applying any paint. Apply 2 thin, even coats of your colour gloss paint, and don't be tempted to overload the brush. Once reaffixed, wait at least 24 hours before turning the radiator back on to prevent the paint becoming tacky when warmed up. For the staircase, we're using Valspar premium wood and metal paint in satin and a 2-inch brush. Put down your dust sheet to protect the staircase and surrounding area. You should prime starting with the spindles first, before painting the banister and newel post. Wait for the primer to dry before following with your paint in the same order, working in long strokes to ensure the paint doesn't accumulate in fiddly areas. And if you have any intricate detailing, opt for a finer brush. Wait for the first coat to dry before applying a second. And if you really want to take your colour drenching to the next level, then look at painting some frames, shelves, or even some furniture using Valspar furniture paint in dead flat matte. And there you have it, a total transformation simply by using paint.